Hi everyone from Quinta dos Magros here in the beautiful Beira Baixa region of Portugal. I'm Anna and I've been living this homestead life with my family and small herd of 23 sheep. Today, as an ethnologist and cultural anthropologist, I'm super excited to show you something very special. How people used to make thick, super warm wool quilts long ago, using wool straight from their own sheep, without fancy tools, just hands and patience. This is exactly the kind of self-sufficient tradition that kept families cozy through cold winters in rural Europe, including right here in Portugal. Look at this beautiful wool from my flock. It's a mix of merino preto, which is this gorgeous natural black or dark brown from the sun, as you can see, and some lovely white from our local breeds. Merino preto is an indigenous Portuguese sheep. The wool from it is super fine, elastic and incredibly warm, perfect for bedding because it traps air and regulates temperatures so well. For this project, I'm going to use the wool mostly from my black sheep, but also want to experiment a bit by using the white one. Mixing black and white creates this beautiful natural variation, just like people did historically when they used whatever their sheep gave them. It adds character, and when it's all fluffed up inside the quilt, you will get these subtle earthy tones. Plus, in a few days after the next shearing, I will have fresh wool to top it up if needed. So this wool I already hand washed and sun dried right here in our Portuguese sunshine. But if you look closely, you can still see tiny pieces of vegetation every now and then, even though I tried to take out as much as I could, and also drum carder helped me with that. But it doesn't bother the warmth of the quilt at all. That's completely normal and authentic. In the old days, people didn't pick out every tiny piece. It just stayed in there and didn't bother the warmth at all. It reminds us this is real homestead wool and not factory processed. After all wool is washed and cleaned, we have two options: carding versus teasing or pulling apart. Both methods were used depending on tools available. Carding, which is using hand-held paddles with metal teeth to comb and align fibers into even sheets, which are called bats, was common in more established traditions like 17th and 18th century England and France, influencing Alpine and Scandinavian methods. However, in rural or earlier practices, for example, Viking era Scandinavia or Carpathian homes, people often skipped full carding and instead teased the wool, breaking it into pieces, pulling it apart by hand to fluff and remove debris when layering it loosely. This teasing was a pre-step or alternative to carding, especially for thicker, less refined batting. So I'm very lucky having this beautiful drum carder here because it saved me tons of work, and for this wool project I'm gonna use wool bats like this one, and I will show you quickly how do I prepare them in the drum carder. So basically this is the teased wool already pulled apart and cleaned. Now I'm gonna feed the drums with it. Each wool bat weighs around 30 grams. I did weigh the wool before, so they have even thickness. So now each portion of wool I will run through drum carder 2 times. So this is going to be the second time. So in this way, I prepared almost 100 wool buds just for this particular quilt. So it is very time consuming, but it's worth it. So for this particular quilt, I need a cotton all linen sheet. This one is cotton and it's very large, but I'm going to make a single size quilt. So what I need to do, it's put buds in the layers horizontally and vertically close together so there are no extra gaps. Okay, so this is my first layer. Now I'm gonna do the second layer in opposite direction. So basically like this. So layering the wool crosswise prevents shifting and matting over time. It's a clever old trick from traditional European bedding methods. I'm going to be generous with the layers to get that lovely loft and maximum warmth. Mix the black and white as I go for that natural rustic look. Okay, so this is second layer. And now let's do the third layer. Okay, three layers of wool. Oh my gosh, this feels so good. So nice and so sorry, but I couldn't resist. It just feels so good. Look at these layers, three layers, but it's just so thick, and there's just tiles underneath. It still feels really, really soft and nice. Amazing. Okay, so now I'm just gonna have a good feel, and if I feel that there is somewhere like feels thinner or less wool in any gaps, then I'm gonna just fill it up with my remaining wool. So for example here it doesn't feel very thick in this particular spot, so I'm gonna just put some extra wool here. Plus this is the middle part of it, so you probably wanted to have it even thicker, even nicer. So I might just break it like that in half and then fill those extra gaps, or in the places where the wool like merges when it's touching to, when the two layers are touching, just put like extra wool there. It's gonna be nice. Can't wait to use it at winter. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be incredible. Yeah, I'm just gonna put some extra layers in the middle, this way like that. Yep. Got lots of wool, plus a lot of it coming because we're gonna be shearing the sheep in a few days. Gosh, this is gonna be amazing. I can't wait to use it. This particular one is actually for my son. For myself I might make even larger, but I'm telling you, it's just it took a long time to prepare all that wool. It's gonna be super thick and super nice. Gosh. So this is almost like a fourth layer. It's basically almost covering everything. Yeah. Got two extra buds. I'm just gonna put here one and here extra luck, so it's basically almost 4 layers of wool. Nice. Okay. So now I'm gonna cover it with the other half of the sheet. And then we're gonna tie the knots. And this, obviously, it's just the outer layer. This is the outer layer of quilt. So I will be putting it in duvet covers. So it doesn't matter how your sheet looks like, really. It's just gonna be inside the duvet cover, so you won't really see it. So then you can use whichever duvet cover you want, and you can wash it. Look, it's just like that. So I did like that. Now we're gonna tie the knots, and after tying the knots, we're gonna just sew the edges, and basically it will be ready. Here I have wool thread with a very big needle, and once the top fabric is on, like this, and everything is sandwiched nicely, I will secure it with simple knotted ties. So no fancy quilting stitches are needed. So this is faster and perfect for thick wool battings like these ones. I will use the strong wool yarn and poke the needle through all the 3 or 4 layers, then pull it back up close by, then tie a good secure square knot, snip the ends or leave them a bit long for that folk art feel. I will space them every 20 centimeters, more or less. Tying like this lets the wool stay fluffy and lofty, much warmer than tightly quilted ones. Okay, so now when all the knots are tied and the quilt is almost done, the only thing to do is to sew the edges. I don't have the sewing machine, so I will be doing this by hand. So hand sewing will be done by my mom because she got much more experience than I do, and she enjoys it much more. On top of that, she got much more time. Okay, so all the edges are hand sewn now, and all the quilt is finished. It fits perfectly to single bed, and this is how it looks more or less now. When people hear quilt today, they often think of patchwork and sewing machines. but historically many quilts were plain, hand-tied and made for warmth rather than decoration. This is a very warm wool quilt, made entirely from my own sheep, using the same cross-layering and lying methods people relied on long ago for survival and comfort. In the end, let me just tell you about a few benefits of using quilt like this. Wool has been used for bedding for centuries because it's warm, breathable, durable, and renewable. It helps regulate temperature, manages moisture well, and can last for decades when properly cared for. For me, there's also something satisfying about using material that comes directly from my own sheep. And honestly, one of the biggest benefits is something modern bedding often lacks, which is longevity. A well-made wool quilt can be still in use 20, 30, even 50 years from now, while many synthetic duvets are replaced every few years. That's both sustainable and deeply traditional. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a like, subscribe to Quinta dos Magros for more homestead adventures, and let me know in the comments, would you try making one? What wool projects are you working on? Thank you for watching and see you next time!